उनको दे रही हूँ फिर मेरे को नहीं दे।
Hello, everybody. Very good afternoon. Can somebody please tell me if my audio is clear? Hello, Siddharth. Are you there?
Yes, yes, you are audible.
Perfect, perfect. So I think we have enough people. Let's get started with the session. Welcome everybody to Microsoft Threat Protection Immersion Day, hosted by your very own ConsultEdge. And thank you so much for joining us today. As threats continues to evolve, we all know that organizations need advanced security solutions that can be detected, investigated, and responded. So in today's session, that's exactly what we're going to explore. We have a very own speaker, Siddharth, with us. Siddharth, to everybody, I really request to make this session very interactive. Feel free to ask away questions if you have any. On that note, let's get started with the session. Over to you, speaker. Hello, everybody. I hope I'm audible clearly. I've just been informed that there was a glitch and the audio wasn't coming through. So I think we're going to start over. So, welcome everybody to Microsoft Threat Protection Immersion Day, hosted by your very own ConsultEdge.Global. And thank you all very much for joining us today. In today's session, we will be exploring how Microsoft integrated security ecosystem can help your organization strengthen their threat protection strategy through capabilities like Microsoft Detector XDR. And I really request everybody to keep this session very interactive. And I encourage you all to actively participate and share your questions. So, on that note, I am giving it over to you, speaker Siddharth. Let's get started with the session. Siddharth, am I audible?
Yes, you are. Thank you.
Uh,
Just let me know once my screen is visible.
sure.
So I'll be sharing a quick presentation on the same topic, threat protection. So we'll be taking threat protection as a overall field and exploring different challenges. We'll be going through a quick exercise as well. So it will be an interactive exercise in which we'll look into what are different scenarios where different threat protection tools are utilized and so on. So do let me know once my screen is visible. I'm sharing it now.
Sure, sure. We have Deepak with us, and are we audible clearly, Deepak?
Yes, you are audible. Good to
Perfect,
you.
perfect.
Okay. So let's get started. So today we'll be looking at different threat protection scenarios and tools which are directly provided by Microsoft Security, right? So in today's world, where AI has come into play and a lot of different scenarios play out day by day, when exploit making to modifying different viruses has become such an easy exercise that it is as common to as writing a simple sentence. So how do we, as a small or a mid-market enterprise, keep ourselves safe from these type of scenarios which are growing day by day? So we do have a few facts as well that we're going to look at next. But we would like you to share a few understandings for us in the chat to us. So, what is your name? What is your role? Are you internal facing or external facing? Which particular business unit or team do you belong to? And what are your possible expectations from this meeting? Right? So we'd like to get that from our viewers so that once we get into the interactive exercise, we have a basic idea of who we are working with, as well as based on what you share are the expectations from this session, we'll be able to properly address any queries, and we'll try to modify and customize the session a bit more towards the areas that you are looking towards. So please feel free to drop into the chat your name, role, and expectations from the session. So as I said, we'll be looking into a few trends, right, that are very common in today's market. One of them, I think, fairly known by every one of us, is technical debt. Technical debt means that there is a huge staffing shortage for IT professionals and security professionals all around the globe, and not enough people are getting trained and are working in the specific fields where people are required right now. And security, I think, is probably going to be one of the last fields that is going to be affected by AI all in all. Because when it comes down to security, I believe trust factors come into play the most. So as of now, the world is still looking for more and more scenarios. Just allow me a quick second. Just allow. Okay, so continuing on, so while there is a huge shortage of technical talent all across the globe, the attacks are increasing in complexity, challenge, and are getting more and more dangerous day by day. As I just told you, modifying, ransomwares, modifying viruses, modifying worms, and creating security toolkits has become such a easy job since AI has came into play, that even amateurs are now acting as complete professionals in the field of cybersecurity. Now, how do you keep such a big vast area safe? And looking into a few more statistics, one in every five data incidents are happening because of insiders. Insiders are the people who are our employees, who have access to resources and need access to particular resources. But as employees, crucial employees are, they are also the biggest threat to any particular organization, because they are the most attack vulnerable surface area. People is the easiest area to hack instead of machines. You can have 1,000 tools, but if someone is not properly informed and not properly working, they become the biggest threat. Now, a few more statistics are on the screen right now. For, let's say, 46% of the medium businesses experience cybercrime within the past year, have experienced cybercrimes. So, which means medium and small size businesses have been the biggest targets of cyber attacks in the last few years. 46% of breaches impact businesses with fewer than 1,000 employees. As I said, SMBs and medium businesses are the biggest targets, because they may or may not be properly informed about security requirements. They may or may not have invested that heavily into security, or security might not be even a focus area for them, or they might not be a tech savvy firm. But in today's world, I don't think there is any particular company that runs without IT all in all, right? From softwares to SaaS to AI, something is always a part of our daily workflow. Now, the median time for users to fall for phishing emails is less than 60 seconds. Plus, organizations have fewer resources to prevent and detect, and the cost related to cyber crimes have are expected to reach $10.5 trillion by 2025. I think this happened last year. So all in all, the overall architecture, or the overall trend towards security is there are less and less people to secure, and more threats that are growing day by day. The 1.1 hour 12 minute speed, cyber threats have grown. So attacker to access private database from phishing, they can, once they have started, within an hour and 12 minutes they are able to access private data. uh, in comparison to 2023, the password attacks have grown from 579 passwords per second to 7,000 passwords per second. And within Microsoft, over 300 different threat actors were detected and managed during the year of 2023, which increased at least by 300% to 1,500 plus in 2024. So within such such a small time frames of a year or so, the statistics within security arenas has increased so significantly. And even these are the threats that have been reported, that are actually visible to people. And if you started actually analyzing how many different scenarios, or how many different use cases may have happened during the last few years that even went unnoticed, the companies didn't report it, or they just paid the attackers to get free from it, the number would be even higher than that. Now, cybersecurity jobs, as we talked about, that there is a disconnected fragmentation of different tools. There are so many different arenas and tools to work upon. Not one particular, there are very less people who are actually trained on more than one, right? So there is currently a need of over 4 million cybersecurity professionals. And since the introduction of AI and a few new compliances that keep on increasing day by day, as you see the last statistic, right, there are about 250 new regulatory updates to be tracked every day. So this number has probably grown multifold in the last few years. Now, while we continue discussing threats and a few statistics, we would like to take a few inputs from our viewers as well. So, as I said initially, please do put your name, your field, and your company alongside your designation right into the chat so that we are able to provide and make this session a bit more meaningful for you. But from also a different perspective, do put in any expectations that you have from the session and any scenarios that you may have encountered in the last few years or your own lifetime. What are some life scenarios that you may have encountered during your careers? And I'll take a quick second and we'll continue on. Okay, so guys, while everyone in the world, every type of company, either it be SMB, either it be, enterprises, they all face majorly the same type of challenges. And one of the most common ones out there is ransomware, right? As you see, from 2022 to 2027, the total annual, cost related to cybercrime that have increased from $8 trillion globally to $24 trillion, and the attacks have scaled to 345 million attacks per day. I think this is a number worth noting, right? Because out of so many attacks that are being conducted, launched at a such a large scale, how do we know we are not going to be the next one, right? And since the starting, I have been giving right quick ideation that since AI have came into play, a lot of things have increased. So a few areas where AI is being utilized by these attackers are going to be are here, right? From malware generation to vulnerability detection to customizing exploits, password cracking, phishing, and social engineering, like even disguising malicious code into a real file or something like that. Communications and control communications. Plus, I think a very common scenario that we are looking at nowadays, each and everywhere, are deepfakes. Deepfakes are basically AI generated data, email, voice, images, videos, anything that you may, think of. Now, plus, when you talk about defending from all of this separately, right? Our security teams have a primary focus of all different, all of our different, what you call our attack surface areas. Attack surface areas are the places where a possible attack might happen. So, for someone on the outside, what are the possible places they can attack us are called the attack surface areas, right? Now, within this, a few common ones that are majorly present within each and every organization are email and collaboration. So, our email tools, our teams. Yeah. Next is endpoints from servers to laptops, desktops, things like this. Then comes identities, email IDs, such data, and then workloads, our servers, our VMs, and more, right? So these are major five areas. There are a few more depending on the type of organization or the type of work they do. But these are five major areas that are available. And in when you talk about enterprises, there are about 80 to 90 different security tools that they are utilizing for different attack surfaces area, and within the whole organization they're utilizing 80 to 90 different tools. Now these tools are not made to be deployed once and kept running. They need regular updates, they need regular maintenance, they need someone looking into alerts and taking actions. So, in such a scenario where you have to manage 80 different tools for five different surface areas or even more, right? How do you actually map out? And just to let you know, a quick example is on the screen. This actually shows how all of these different attack surface areas are connected to each other. So how attackers thinks, from attackers point of view, let's say when they send over a phishing mail, right? It might have a attachment, it might have a URL, it might have a browser, browse to website button. Now, what happens through all of these three aspects is that the exploit is installed onto our endpoints, right? Our devices, which actually leads to the user account compromise, right? Through which it might happen, happen that the attacker, steals the account credentials. They actually do reconnaissance not only to the compromised user, but through each and everything where this particular user may have access, where they may have privileged access, and they would look into the whole domain as a whole, because one particular user might not have all the data, all the aspects that the attacker might need. So now, from one user being compromised to spreading throughout the company, is called what we call lateral movement, which basically allows our attacker to attain different accesses through different users and access to different data. Now, once the attacker exfiltrates all this data out from your environment and keeps it for ransom or whatsoever reasons, right? What they do is they stop your workings so that you are unable to trace them. They stop services, they delete backups, they encrypt files on the overall computers or workloads, right? And they deploy ransomwares and lot more. So all this basically is an interconnected area. Sorry, all of this is basically interconnected to each other, and even one of them is weak in terms of security, in terms of proper management and monitoring. It causes a huge loss to organizations. And I think we are in India, and since the introduction of DPDPA, even the fines that a company may get from a data breach and not being properly secure from data breaches, from at least not trying to be preventing these type of data breaches within their organization from neglect, the fines can be as big as 250 crores. A lot of the companies that these attackers actually target are the overall revenue of those companies is lower than that, right? Now, when attacks happen in minutes and hours, not days and months, attackers are taking advantages of these security silos, the availability of multiple tools, the different attack surfaces to be managed, and the non-availability of security teams, right, who do not have enough bandwidth to properly address the overall exposure effectively. how do you actually, so whatever we talked about, let's put it into a quick scenario, right? So this is basically a Okta Tempest Intel profile. So let's say this is a company who is about to be attacked, right? In this particular scenario, the motivation is financial, right? The objective is SIM swaps, stealing cryptocurrency or exfiltrating data or inputting ransomware, right? So how does an actual real life attack look like? Let's say at the first stage, the attacker tries to have a self-service password reset. Now he may have gotten access to an email ID which is a very commonly known to the public, commonly available to different people, right? Now, a lot of companies offer self-service password reset as well. Now, in this case, the attacker tries to reset the password of this particular user's email ID, right? Now, the attacker tampers with the victim's MFA, where additional phone numbers may be added to the MFA, right? The first login, they first log in into the account, right? Through which they try to access the networking related points. They try to access Teams chat. They try to access SharePoint and such. Now, in this case, Microsoft Entra ID does alert, creates an alert and say, let's say, intelligent alert was triggered, which says someone might be trying to hack because it may be also a false positive where the user's activity may be the user is himself doing some activities. Now the Microsoft XDR within some time also triggers an alert that Okta Tempest related sign in was triggered. Now in this case the automatic remediation comes into play, which disables the overall user's account, and further there are no activities in the overall environment. Now we heard a lot of words such as access, discovery, lateral movement, as I mentioned before. So there are a lot of different ways someone tries to get it done. So when you talk about initial access, uh, methodologies like social engineering, impersonation, phishing, these come into play where you try to the human factor. You try to break the human factor first and try to gain passwords, try to gain confidential information, right? Then you actually do discovery. So within discovery, the concepts like going through reconnaissance for the internal environment, looking through multiple documentations, actually gaining different data points and information for the overall environment comes into play. Then from the discovery, attackers move into identifying which are the tier zero assets, which means which have the most critical data, which are most critical to the company, right? They try to access enterprise environments utilizing VPNs, and they collect as many credentials and as many accesses as possible. Then while when you are in a enterprise environment, or when you are in a environment where EDRs and such tools are available, so you circumvent around them. There are methods and methodologies to actually beat these systems as well. So, in this, while looking at each and everything, one thought pops to our mind, that are we actually secure even after the best, tools, even after implementing 10 different security tools and controls in our organization, right? So, while answering this question, the true answer is no. No one is ever secure, but we can be the most prepared in the sense. I think one more case study is not yet required. Now we'll look at the overall challenges that we saw in the first layer, right? What we just discussed. Now the attacker launched multiple waves of different attacks targeting multiple organizations, right? one of those attacks goes well. Now, once they reach the data exfiltration and such different stages, right? In that case, how do you prevent all the different areas with AI? They are trying different methodologies. They're trying different uh, attack methods. They're viruses different. They are hiding these vulnerabilities and exploits into real looking and live looking code, right? When multiple, there are so many different, and in a but actual environment there are multiple alerts that keep on coming, right? There are multiple scenarios where we have to correlate different areas and sources together. And while remediating is also a manual and a time taking task, right? So majority of the for a device which is completely unmanaged, which is true for a lot of organizations, 90% of the ransomware attacks are successful. Now, how do we actually you know get it done is what XDR, where XDR comes into play, which delivers and looks all across the kill chain, right? Which means in different areas, in different waves, it can coordinate and correlate the attack in different parts. It might, because when we look at different scenarios in a broken pattern without actually correlating them together, it does not actually look like someone is trying something malicious. But once you correlate them to each other, that is where the actual movements, the actual playbooks come into play. While the statistics say that 90% of ransomware attacks on unmanaged devices are true, within 3 minutes, the parallel facts are, within 3 minutes utilizing XDRs, the any level of threat, any ransomware attack can be stopped while correlating different areas, while looking into different perspectives, and being updated with high level threat intelligence from across the globe, right? So the real time threat disruption capabilities that the XDRs have, the Microsoft Defender XDR have, right, is that they identify assets which are being controlled by the attackers. The AI powered automotive, response actually disrupts lateral movement up to with 99% confidence level. Now, in this case, your SOC teams actually do not have to get involved, right? They just need to investigate and remediate. The overall cost of from the impact of the attack, from preventing the attack, is actually lower. And from a customer's perspective, when you talk non in a non-technical way, right? Uh, when a customer is facing 10 plus waves, matlab, different times they are being attacked on different areas, where they may have 10 different users out of 1000 who may have been compromised, right? There are three spreader IPs. Now, 7,000 incidents get disrupted every month utilizing XDRs in such scenarios, right? Now, when attackers are targeting over 2,000 devices in an organization, right? A percentage of 97% being saved, out of which the 3% of devices which were not saved were actually onboarded to a different security vendor, and they all suffered encryption. In that case, ransomware was successful. Now, when we talk about automatic attack disruption, right? Microsoft says that they have a 3 minute average time to disrupt any ransomware attempt. They disrupt at least 16,000 incidents every month. They disable around 50,000 user accounts in every 6 months or so, and over 200,000 devices. have been saved from attacks, and this was in the last 6 months. So this number keeps on increasing, right? Now, why do we utilize such scenarios? Because in different areas where human operated, hand on keyboard, and BEC, which is business email compromise, and there are so many different attack scenarios. The response actions to different workloads and different identities are so many that those actions have to be taken in a different way, right? Where some in endpoints, it may be a device, it may be a IP containment which is required. In terms of identity, a user might need to be disabled, right? In terms of applications, the OAuth access or the direct integrated access needs to be disabled, right? In terms of third party apps and so many different areas needs to be tackled. Now when you talk about so many different areas, and we have been talking so much about different attack patterns, right? How do we save it all? So when you talk about different areas, this is where unified exposure management comes into play. Unified exposure management, as the name suggests, right, is basically a central threat protection program which your teams can utilize, which basically lets the users of this tool know which type of data resides in which particular area of your organization, right? It provides the security teams end-to-end visibility into the organization security posture, into where are the places which may be most vulnerable, and what are the places that are already secure. So the proper focus and attainment can be given to the right resources by the right people. So as we have been talking about risk exposure, everything like that, the security exposure management capabilities have a few differentiators. This is one of the first tools that basically unifies your threat management and exposure management into a single life cycle, right? The unified posture capabilities actually ensures your overall ecosystem uh, is completely scanned and assessed by these automated tools, right? And 78 trillion daily signals are taken in from around the globe to actually be on top of different threats and vulnerabilities that are out there. Plus, your own security tools can also be connected into this platform. Now, while we are exploring different areas of security, right, one of the most common ones we see, and I think every one of us has seen in the last year or so, would be social engineering attacks, right? I think every one of us may have received at least one uh, what you call phishing email or a junk email, right? I don't think I really haven't met anyone who at least once have not received these type of emails, either on a personal or a corporate basis. Now, the problem with social engineering attacks is you do not tools majorly cannot differentiate between actual threats and actual real life work. In terms of let me give you a quick example. Let's say you do actually get a email from Microsoft when your account is under threat, right? But you also get the phishing email saying that your account is about to be logged. You do actually get emails from your bank saying there might be a security risk, but you also get the in social engineering or phishing emails that say your account may be under siege. How do you actually differentiate between what is true and what is not? That is a LLM based business email compromise detection, which basically understands and tries to take contextual analysis and utilizing AI and collaborative security, it basically tries to detect the intent, detect the accuracy, and filter any emails based on what is within the content, what is the perspective, what is the reputation of the sender, and so forth. Now, earlier tools used to do they used to were signature mapping. Signature mapping does not work in today's time because since Gen AI has come into play, right? We actually cannot be stick on fingerprinting methods because these tools used to match out different areas. Your older tools like Sophos and all, they used to match out if something matches my stored signals, then it is something dangerous, else it is not. Now it has become such a easy task for any attacker to actually change the fingerprint of a virus, fingerprint of a Genia email, and fingerprints of phishing emails. Right, it is getting harder and harder to keep detecting them in a live scenario where millions of emails are flowing through a lot of our organizations on a daily basis. Right. Now, next comes your phishing targeting collaboration platform. When phishing targeting basically means when a particular person is being targeted. Now, in case particular persons have been targeted, it may be an internal user, it may be, MFA approvals or anything like that, which is directly connecting with the user. In this case, the full protection is available within the Defender for Office, which basically says that malicious messages gets quarantined within your environments. Your files are scanned. You can also train your users utilizing attack simulations and phishing tests. uh, Potential So there is a feature called sandboxing, which basically evaluates and scans all urls